And here we are. Welcome back to the Redshirt Sophomore. We never sit out. We're so back, man. I mean, top 10 teams, top 15 teams plummeting. G5 teams on some heaters right now. We get some great matchups here coming up in week three. It's going to feature, it's pretty SEC heavy, but that's just kind of the nature of week three. That'll be less so as we continue on through the season. But we got 9 games, not just 8 games like we have the last couple weeks. We got 9 games for you guys to check out this week, as well as some best bets. Spoiler alert, I'm absolutely hotter than a freaky piston right now. And some dirty dogs. CD, we have found we found 3 dirty dogs in 2 weeks.
50%. We're shooting at a 50% clip, plus 300 or more bets right now. It's
We're
pretty
going
saucy.
bonkers. If you were to just tail our dirty dogs, you would be up 7.35 units just tailing our dirty dogs. Now, okay, folks, that's it's not sustainable at all. But I'm just saying that's how exciting college football is right now, where your 10-point underdogs like can win on any given day. You go, you buy your ticket to your team's home game and they're a 14 and a half point favorite, against some G5 team. Look out. All right. Stuff happens. So I'm excited. We got Clemson, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Minnesota, Cal, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Duke, Tulane, Florida, LSU, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, and USF. Miami, the premier game of the week, of course. We have 2 G5 teams on this list today. But I mean, CD, anything you got for us before we start heading into the slate? Anything that stood out to you last week?
Yeah, a lot of good football being played, a lot of bad football being played. I think something that I learned that I need to self-reflect is don't get caught with your week one goggles. I texted Matthew that yesterday.
Yep.
Said I had a rough week. Matthew was fantastic, so obviously he'll stay hot and I'll rebound here in week three. Feel like I'm a little calmed down, able to ingest some more data, see some stuff a little bit more clearly. Excited to talk about these games. You mentioned it's SEC heavy. It's unfortunate. It's just because SEC likes to schedule their cupcakes later on in the season, so they're starting conference play right now.
Right,
No,
right.
I'm kidding. They got Notre Dame on the road here. Minnesota or Alabama is actually scheduling Wisconsin, even though Wisconsin's not the team we thought they were going to
It's
be
like a
a couple
20
years
point
ago.
it's 20-point spread in that one.
Yeah, holy cow! At home for Alabama after they blew them out last year. But yeah, a lot of good football to be played this weekend. A lot of important, meaningful games. Clemson at Georgia Tech is one we've had circled since way back in the offseason. And the other thing, too, and we'll get to it, we get there, South Florida and Miami, that was a game that we had circled could be a sleeper game. Now, South Florida could come up and sneak up on Miami. They are not sneaking up on anybody anymore, man. South Florida's here. Everyone understands that. They got a nice program down there. Uh,
Alex
it's our
Golish had a
guy,
really
Alex
nice
Golish.
interview for the Florida job next year.
Yeah.
It was a really nice
So,
interview. If you think about it, it went great for him.
it could not
Probably
have
gonna get a
gone
call
better.
back. He's
Yeah.
probably gonna get a call back. It'll be a second round, probably. But yeah, jokes aside, no, you're right. It's crazy. Like my strategy last week was like, okay, you had these convictions about these teams in the off season. You did all the research and the data. Like, how much are you going to be deviating from your previous convictions after week one? There were a couple teams that I did. Alabama was one of them. I deviated my opinion on them greatly. But a lot of teams I just kind of stayed even keel, and we ended up. It was kind of the week of the dog, and I had said that. And I think week two, that's where you get caught up. Like the markets, sometimes overreact, and all of a sudden you got some favorites that shouldn't be favorites or as big of favorites as they should be. So, but it's the ebbs and flows of college football betting market. So, anyway, CD, let's get into it. Clemson at Georgia Tech. As a guy who has plenty of stock in Georgia Tech to win the ACC, I love this game right now. Now, the thing is, Clemson's kind of coming off of we'll call it a rougher start to a game, against Troy. You ended up coming back and winning that game. Couple guys banged up. Cade Klubnik not looking like the Cade Klubnik that we're used to seeing. And Georgia Tech, even with Haynes King, you put Haynes King in a sling, all right? And that dude is going to throw his body on the line. The Longview legend will leave it on the field for everyone. So I'm excited because these are, I mean, are these the two best coaching staffs in the ACC right now? Probably. They're up there.
Dare I say? I mean, I will say Florida State's new look coaching staff looked pretty good
True.
week one.
Very
Miami's
true.
coaching staff, new look, on defensive side of the ball, they looked okay week one as well. Pretty impressive stuff. But yeah, we have been on the Brent Key, Buster Faulkner fan page for as long as we can remember here, and they have been fantastic. I have to say it every time. I just love this rushing attack that Georgia Tech brings, and that gives you chances to win every single game, especially at Bobby Dodd here. It was criminal that Georgia Tech is not going to be playing Georgia there. It just ridiculous. But nice to see that they do have a big time home game, true home field advantage here. This line, man, 3.5, what we'll be picking it at, is a lot less than I was expecting back in May, back in June, back in July, even August when we were getting close to the season. I was hoping to get Georgia Tech with some value there. 3.5's not a lot, man. It's not a lot. Obviously, you got some injuries banged up. You talked about Haynes King on the Clemson side of the ball. Antonio Williams, his left hamstring's giving him some bother. They rested him last weekend. Hopefully, he's ready for this. I will say, though, hamstrings at a position like wide receiver is not something to mess around with. Even if he is healthy, does he trust that leg? Like, what can we expect from him? How many is there a pitch count, stuff like that? Although they do have talent at that position, but he's a special player. Cleo Barnes, the defensive back there, he should be back healthy, as well as we'll see about the left tackle Tristan Lay, and how he's going to be healthy for Clemson. It's tough, man. The last time we saw Clemson and Georgia Tech, really, we tuned in was probably week one, right? You saw them both play some marquee matchups. We covered both those games. Clemson obviously didn't end up too well for them. Georgia Tech gets a win on the road. Um, Man, I think a healthy Haynes King here. I know we were joking about him being hurt and him just getting better as the game wears on, which I do think is true. He is such a warrior. They're going to need him to run the football well. I still believe in Clemson. I was very impressed with Adam Randall and how hard he ran the ball against LSU. Production wasn't always there necessarily, but and then against Troy last week, he was like the cog in the engine that was getting them going, even when they weren't. So that was good to see. I know that position was a question mark on the offense side of the ball just because he had never played the position. You graduated some guys, you had some attrition there, so hopeful to see that. Nice to see Adam Randall go, and then that defense and what they'll get done, man. Those defensive lines they're special football players. You got athletes on both sides of the ball or on both levels behind those defensive lines, just freaks. I'm gonna go Clemson here, -3. I hate to do it. I hate to go against Georgia Tech. I just think Clemson is desperate right now, man. I think Dabo Swinney understands how important this game is, not only for ACC standings, but for an at-large bid in the college football playoffs, and then momentum also with Clemson. I think this is a huge, huge spot. Going to be a tough spot though on the road.
I'm with you, as heartbreaking as it is, because I do have so much. Yeah, I have so much Georgia Tech stock to win the ACC, and they're more talented. But the thing is, it's like this Georgia Tech team and this coaching staff, like Buster Faulkner, lives for games like these. Like lives. Even with like we talked about in the preseason, like the depth and the sheer talent on this defense, particularly, I mean, at all levels, for this Clemson team. If they are not on top of it, if they don't get their screws in, right, it is going to be a long day playing against this offense. Now, if you get to Haynes King early and you shake him up a little bit, like this could go really well in Clemson's favor. I, as much as I love the Yellow Jackets, I think 3.5 is a little too low there. So I'll lean Clemson there. Will not be on the best bets. You cannot be betting against Brent Key when he is at home with these Yellow Jackets. And if Haynes King is under center, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, last thing I will say too, Clemson, like for how good their defense was last year and how good they are, like talent wise, stopping the run against Texas was like really, really frustrating, right? And like linebackers just being slow and not getting outside and like people able to run away from him. So like you'll have Haynes and Haynes King, like Jamal Haynes, right? And Haynes King for Georgia Tech to get after them. And then Caden Durham, like an LSU running game that was not impressive last year, lost a bunch of offensive line, like was able to run the football at times against you at home. So that's definitely concerning if you are Clemson. But yeah, like we said, as much as I hate to do it though, Clemson minus 3.5.
The Aggies of College Station are traveling to South Bend to take on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in the second game of a home and home. Notre Dame's favored by 7. You can get it 6.5 some places. We'll pick it at 7 here to help me out. This is interesting, man. Last year we came into this game thinking, "Holy cow! Like, what is Notre Dame going to do in the offensive line?" A&M has like 4 NFL defensive linemen there, 3 that are going to be taken in the 2025 draft. Like, what are they going to do? They're starting a true freshman at left tackle. No Charles Jagsaw. Didn't matter. It did not matter for them at all. Their offensive line got it together. While it's looking a little bit different so far to start this season, that defense looks a little bit leakier than it was last year. That defense that was so good for them, even with all their injuries down the stretch on that defensive line. Like the reason why we were so high on this Notre Dame team, see, heading into the season, it's like we're in the national media. You had injuries on your offensive line and your defensive line and in your secondary all year long, and it didn't matter. It did not matter. You had a winner at quarterback. You had a coaching staff that did enough and you just found ways to win football games with great special teams, as well as just being disciplined, taking care of the football. Are you going to see that? Are you going to see that this Saturday in South Bend? You're playing against a Texas A&M team that has quite a bit more explosiveness on the offense side of the ball. These receivers look really good, like something that A&M has not seen in like a decade. That's the kind of level of receiver that you're talking about. While you have a fantastic secondary over at Notre Dame, they haven't really opened up the can with Le'Veon Moss. They're still ramping him back up. Ruben Ohms, they're ramping up that running back room. Injury to Trey Zune, don't know if he'll play or not, and how that will impact this team. Robert Bourdon might be getting the start there left tackle, but CD, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, like I see that line and that feels large to me. And the other thing too is I just we go back to what we thought preseason wise, right? Like I think A&M is better this year than they were last year. I think Notre Dame is probably a step back than they were last year. And so like that, I'm looking at this line and I'm seeing the equation and I don't quite see it at 7 for Notre Dame to cover, especially with breaking their new quarterback. It'll be nice. He'll be back at home. You'll have that kind of chance. And the other thing too is we've seen A&M in big games struggle with big plays and breakdowns in the secondary. They play good football 90% of the time, and you have a couple breakdowns on third down, long plays, etc., etc. It just can't happen if you're going to go on the road into a tough environment against a very good and well-coached football team. If you want to get a win here, or in our case, cover, if we're picking this game, it'll be interesting. I do want to bring up, though, I love how you brought up the A&M wide receivers and what they can do. I think we saw Miami at times. Malachi Tony, the true freshman, CJ Daniels, right? A couple guys that made really big time plays for you. And like that's the difference. A&M has not had that. When you need to go toe to toe against good football teams, you need players to make plays. And as stupid as that sounds, like that has not been the case for A&M. For all the talent they brought in on both sides of the ball, recruiting classes, all that stuff, you haven't seen the difference makers. Like you thought Marshall Reed was going to be a guy with his legs. He still can be for sure. But having those run after catch guys, having those explosive players, Mara Craver, Casey Concepcion, Terry Bussey got involved, and there's others too at the tight end position as well. I'm gonna go A&M plus 7. I do worry about like I do believe A&M can stop the run. Like I was worried that offensive line that Notre Dame trotted out there is very solid and like they're obviously athletic and well coached, but Miami they took care of business on their defensive line, and I think A&M's got the same kind of cats that Miami does too. I think you can pop the run, you put it on CJ Carr, and make them go. And then we'll see Marcel Reed as a passer. So we'll go win this football game. The other thing I do want to bring up is it is Mike Elko's return back to Notre Dame, right? He was the defensive coordinator there not too long ago, 2017, for a year before he came to Texas A&M as defensive coordinator, ultimately ended up at Duke, and now back as the head coach here for the Fighting Texas Aggies. But yeah, man, A&M +7.
Yeah, I'll take the +7 as well. I think Notre Dame. I'll take Notre Dame to win, A&M to cover. If A&M wins this game, though, like you have to have that conversation about them being a contender in the SEC. I do think watching those first two games, the offense and defensive line was not as dominant as I think fans wanted to see. Right, I think the defensive line definitely you still gave up some explosive plays in the rushing attack, which is concerning. Which last year that cost you the game, right? Jeremiah Love, Shadarian Price, both explosive runs when you needed them to not happen at the most inconvenient times. Going on the road is tough too. A&M, I don't think has beaten an AP like top 15 team on the road since like 2014. That's that's a yikes, right? That's a
Oh my
yikes.
gosh.
So yeah, that's a yikes. But ultimately, I do think that A&M will cover this 7. I think it's too many points. I think it's way too many points. Will not be on my best bets though, because again, that left tackle spot, if Trey Zune's not there, or if he's not 100%, I like Robert Bourdon. It's a big stage, though, to be getting your first start, though, at left tackle. It's just a second-year guy, right? So I
Can
like
I
it, though. And +7.
can I
What do you got?
ask you, with Notre Dame, looking at their schedule, and I hate to do this in September because here we were, and a lot of people saying when they lost to NIU last year, like, no, they should not be in the playoffs. And ultimately, they ended up going to the playoffs, whether you wanted them to or not, winning a couple games and ending up right there as runner ups last year. I'm looking at their schedule, and we talked about like this was going to be a schedule for them that was very front heavy, very front loaded with Miami and Texas A&M right at the top there. You lose to Miami in a tough one down in Coral Gables. And I'm looking at your schedule, man. I mean, NC State's not who they once were. Boise State looks to take a big step back, looking for signature wins. USC is still on there, but that's about it, man. Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford, those will not be resume boosters. Purdue still work in progress at Arkansas. I think we will appreciate that win a lot more than the College Football Playoff Committee. If you're a Notre Dame fan, if you're Notre Dame, like, this is a massive game for you. Like, in terms of, obviously a lot can happen in 10 weeks, whatever can happen, but this is huge. Like, Notre Dame loses, especially if you don't look great. It might be tough to recover.
I agree with you. I do think that Arkansas will be better, especially if they get a win over Ole Miss this weekend. That'd be crazy. I think Pitt will secure some wins. I think Navy's going to be a dominating team there in the American. I think Boston. I don't know. Like they'll find a way to justify it. I think they'll find a way to justify a 10-win Notre Dame team to get in. I really do. Georgia playing Tennessee. Boy, 3.5 is the line. CD. What was your line for this game in the preseason? It was not 3.5. I'll tell you that. It was not 3.5. I would add this game as 8, 9 points. That's what I would add. And honestly, my opinion about these two teams hasn't changed much after the first couple weeks. I'm not sure that Syracuse is fantastic. We like the way that Joey Aguilar is playing. Tennessee's defense, by the way, is really good. It's
Yeah.
exceptional. However, it was a little bit concerning, though, watching that secondary against Syracuse at times. There were some explosive plays that happened, some chain moving situations happening over there. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as maybe that defense did last year. I understand that there's some definite personnel uh, rearrangement there, but I think largely you still have really good talent. Georgia, on the other hand, haven't really been tested yet. Gunnar Stockton is looking okay. Those receivers look really nice. I mean, when your premier transfer portal get is wide receiver Noah Thomas, and he's not even really playing for you. I mean, that's when you feel like maybe this wide receiver core is way better than we thought it was going to be in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, it does worry me. I mean, obviously, Georgia fans, you saw last week, 28-6 against Southern PA is not acceptable. And they understand that at home, especially. And now you had to gear up and go into Knoxville. This just it, it it screams trap for me right now. I feel like we're probably um we're kind of halting the Tennessee train. And maybe it's just us clinging to our offseason predictions and our offseason feelings about this team. But I don't know. I mean, I think Aguilar is going to see a massive jump in competition he has seen in a long time. I think this Georgia team will be fired up to prove um, to get back after last week. They get a bye next week too. So you've played Marshall, okay, great. You played Austin Peay, great. Physically, you're not going to be feeling too much pain and bumps and bruises, and you still have a bye next week. Oh man, I know Stockton doesn't have a ton of fans at Georgia right now. If you scroll around Twitter, they're ready to get him out of there. But I I still think this wide receiver core can be dynamic. What Tennessee does so well is like chunk plays. Like when they get going, boom, they just like they keep going. And their defense also is very good at stopping those too. Like chunk. So they love that 10 plus play margin that they can win, especially when they do it at home. I just have a hard time believing in like how does Tennessee win this football game? Like what is their avenue to win other than like Joey Aguilar Heisman Trophy game? Like that's what would be like if Joey Aguilar wins this football game, I will say tip my hat. You're going to be at the top of my Heisman vote right now,
Yeah.
assuming Byron Brown doesn't go out and beat Miami as well. But like
Yeah.
that would be kind of where
Or
I'm
Sawyer
at.
Robertson. Come
So
on now. Sawyer
so
Robertson.
he's got some work to do.
Well, so I do think that there's an avenue for them to win, even if Aguilar doesn't play particularly great. What I have very big concerns about is no Jermon McCoy, no Ricky Gibson there in your secondary. And just when you're like last couple of years, we've just like looked at Georgia wide receiver group and we've just kind of shrugged it off like, hey, it's talented, but maybe not the dudes. I think it's good enough to take advantage of what you're lacking there in the secondary with those guys out. Uh, Not that I think the other guys that have stepped in are terrible. They're not. I think you're just looking at a different level of player there that you're going to be missing, that you need when you're playing against the big boys like Georgia. And Tennessee's a big boy. All right. I'm not trying to imply that Tennessee's some little brother, right? Like Tennessee was in the college football playoffs last year. They have a fantastic defense. They have a schedule that's rather favorable this year in the SEC. If you find a way to get this win, CD, like Tennessee is immediately a playoff pick for me. Immediately after I was a little bit lower on them in the offseason.
Without a doubt, this is a massive game for them. But Georgia, too, on the other hand, like not to look ahead here, but they do have a lot of tough games on their schedule. It's not an easy schedule that they have to go out and play, especially. I know a lot of their games, their harder games are at home, which is nice to see. But this one's on the road, and Neyland's a tough environment when it's rocking. They believe they can win this football game, and obviously they do. I'm just gonna go Georgia minus 2.5. I'm not gonna think about it too hard and just kind of roll with that. But I would like to see them run the football consistently. I'd like to see them get the ball in the playmakers' hands and be able to control this football game.
Yeah, I'll roll with you right there. I'll lay the 3.5 with Georgia as well. Minnesota. Now they're geographically in a position where it's actually shorter travel to Cal, Berkeley, than it is for most Big Ten teams. PJ Fleck taking those Gophers and a young quarterback without Darius Taylor, and you got to go in there as 2.5 point favorites, by the way, against Justin Wilcox and the boys over there at Cal, who's freshman 5-star phenom quarterback. Maybe took a bit of a dip down this week, but looked really good in week one. This, I mean, while this game doesn't have the playoff implications that we're talking about with these other games that we're previewing, boy, am I very interested to watch this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And too, there's some history there with Wilcox being the former Wisconsin Badgers defensive coordinator and obviously getting a nice win in the X game against Minnesota. Also, too, Wilcox is not that he's fighting for his job, but he's kind of fighting for his job. I mean, it's a big year for him, man. And you get the quarterback right. Sounds like you have a lot of rebuilding on the offense, man. I know Minnesota fans been talking all summer because they didn't have the tough out of conference game. It's Buffalo, right, which is a good solid team in the MAC, but obviously if you're a Big Ten opponent, like you should be winning that football game. And then obviously Northwestern State, one of the worst teams in FCS. This was the game they've been looking forward to for a while. And you're seeing all these exodus of these offensive players, and it's like, well, what is Cal going to do when it comes to September, September 14th when they got to go, or the 13th, and get it done against Minnesota? And holy cow, man, like that offense, unbelievably impressive. I know Oregon State is not as good defensively as Minnesota is. I do believe in this Minnesota defense, especially right now. They have done a great job of staying fresh. Like they didn't play many snaps against Buffalo. You're gonna have to play much against Northwestern State. So you have a very fresh team, even though you're traveling across the country. That's why I'm not too worried about that travel there. And they also have had to do it before. Obviously, you learned a lot last year going to UCLA. They've done it before. PJ's had success traveling out west. I believe they played a game against Fresno State a long time ago. And I think it might have been 2019 or 2018, something around there. But can Cal? Obviously, the quarterback is very, very good. Can they run the football on Minnesota's defense? Right? Like, are they going to be able to do that? That front seven has been very impressive. I think the corners can be got from Minnesota. So that quarterback for Cal, he could have a day, man. He could run away with this JKS, but it'll be really interesting. And I'd also want to mention too, real quick, Minnesota's got a freshman quarterback as well, and he has looked extremely, extremely impressive. I know his stat line doesn't look fantastic week one. There were a lot of drops in that game. He should have been well over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in that game. Yeah, he looked like the truth there. And obviously, they got some work to do in that wide receiver room. Plus, Cade Ulave is missing the first half due to targeting. He suffered it in that week 2 game, which is tough. Star linebacker for Cal, but they're also Justin Wilcox. I kind of trust him to kind of understand that, but that is a big loss there.
Dude, every year they're pulling NFL talent on the defense side of the ball literally out of their ass. Like, it's
Yeah,
insane. I thought they were going to get obliterated, like, by Oregon State. I'm like, okay, you lose 3 of your NFL guys in the secondary. Caleb Woodson's starting, by the way. Buchanan there in your linebacker core. I'm like, like a team like Cal, how do you replace that? And they've impressed me so far. Sangapalutale as well. You got a chance here to exploit some of that Minnesota secondary. I'll take Cal plus 2.5, and I'll take it to win straight up. To be honest, I sorry, I think it's a good matchup for Cal right there. Even though PJ, I know, has had success there. Sure, they'll try to get physical and run the ball. Uh, Drake Lindsay, to me, even he has more experience than Sangapalotile, but
not by
you're
much.
looking, yeah, not by much. And honestly, even after watching 2 games, like, your gut trusts Sangapalutile over Drake Lindsay. Is
Yeah,
that crazy?
absolutely.
Even though Drake Lindsay has been very impressive. Drake Lindsay's been very impressive, and you and I, we've been high on Drake Lindsay for a while. You see all these rankings out, like, oh, what Power 5 team, Power 4 team has the worst quarterback situation. You see them in, like, the top 4 every single time. It's like, no, Drake Lindsay's pretty good. But Sangapalutile is, boy, is he exciting.
It's more about the surrounding cast, and you have to trust that Minnesota has the surrounding cast to help them out. Now, those wide receivers, Minnesota, like I do worry about them separating and catching balls, which is your number one job, or your only jobs is to separate
Yeah.
and to catch the football when you do get it. Now that also, they're pretty good on run blocking, so I'm not gonna knock them too much. But the Darius Taylor health situation is really concerning as well. It sounds like a hamstring for him, which is not good at all, and not something I think the staff wants to mess around with. Even if he is healthy, I do have a hard time seeing him getting the volume that he would typically have in this kind of game plan. AJ Turner, Cam Davis, Fame, the young freshman running back there, they got to get involved. And this is why he went out and got Turner, is to spell Turner or to spell Darius Taylor when he needed it. And he's going to need it this game, even if he does suit up. I do not expect him to, though. But uh, yeah, I'll go Minnesota minus 2.5. By be a really good game, though. Very, very interesting. And obviously they'll play home and home. This is the first of a home and home with Minnesota and Cal.
Arkansas is traveling on the road to Ole Miss. And by the way, can I just say something, CD? Regardless of the outcome of this game, the national media and their portrayal of this Arkansas team headed in this season was wildly negative. We're talking about like this team, and maybe they may not make a bowl game because their schedule is really tough, but like it was abysmal. And yet, on a neutral site against Ole Miss, they would be within a touchdown. It would be like a 5 point game, which 5 point spread. That's the difference between your Ole Miss, which is at tier two in the SEC probably, and Arkansas. So it's not that big. You got to go on the road now. Taylor Green's got to show his stuff. Two guys that are played really good quarterback so far this season. Austin Simmons, Taylor Green. It, I mean, 8.5 points is the spread in this game. No way can I justify it. And you can see things sometimes get out of hand, with Arkansas teams like this and Taylor Green trying to do too much. But boy, I couldn't justify betting on Ole Miss minus 8.5. Could you?
No, no, not at all. And honestly, like you asked, like your typical national media fan, even your typical SEC fan could be like, "Hey, whose offense do you trust more in this spot?" And they'd be, "Oh, it's Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, obviously." No, man, it's Arkansas. Like I trust Arkansas's offense more than I do Ole Miss, and I don't think that's crazy. Taylor Green has played really good football. Mike Washington, Braylon Russell, like those good football players that they have on that side of the ball. You've got some contribution from your wide receivers. Omega Blake, Raylan Sharp, CJ Brown, guys like that. Jaden Platt, the transfer tight end. So there's weapons there, man. Bobby P, and Bobby P and Lane Kiffin, boy oh boy, a couple of great personalities in the SEC there, as well as Sam Pittman. It's really interesting. Simmons is a good quarterback too for Ole Miss. I will say that. It wasn't pretty against Kentucky, right? I think that's a little
It
discouraging.
never is, though. It
Eh,
never is.
Very
I
good
don't
point.
think you can. I don't think you can completely judge this Ole Miss team, and people will be really quick to judge this Ole Miss team based on that game. But like when you've been in the SEC long enough and playing Kentucky, they're just one of those teams that like every now and then they just muck it up. They just muck it up.
They do. It was nice to see Kawan Lacey get some success running the football because that will help you in this game. You keep Taylor Green off
Yeah,
schedule, and
and it's
if you
something
are,
that they didn't really have that much last year, like in their run game. Like Jackson Dart was a significant portion of their run game.
yeah, you lose Judkins, and you really struggled to replace him. Especially this Arkansas team. You mentioned Taylor Green. He is best when he's playing in rhythm, in system, and like not from behind and playing in their script. You get them out of their script. That's where you see some of that avalanche happen potentially in this game, especially on the road here. I just think in a vacuum, though, expecting like that not to happen, where you have crazy turnovers and whatever else, understanding that's a realistic possibility, I do like this here. And even in a shootout, man, I still like Arkansas. What they can do. This over under 62 and a half. 60, almost 63. It's a lot of points that they're saying to be scored there in the high 20s and low 30s for both these teams. So it'll be interesting here. I do think Arkansas can win this outright. I have a hard time picking that, though. Just that 8.5 is a lot to get there, but I do expect it to be within a touchdown. And I'm going to say anything can happen, man. Anything can happen.
This is a much different level of defense. We know Taylor Green and Bobby Petrino can dial it up against, some lesser competition. But I mean this is still a good team, regardless of what you saw last week. And offensively, like I know we want to believe that Arkansas got better defensively because they got all those transfer portal guys in the secondary, but losing Landon Jackson, I'm still not sold on that defensive line. I think the linebacking core is actually really good, one of the more underrated ones in the SEC. But like, what happens if you're not able to get pressure, CD, on like Austin Simmons, like the way that a lot of teams in the SEC maybe could? You know,
That's scary.
I know you're talking about like in a shootout, but like these wide receivers, there was the thought that you were gonna have this drop off with Jordan Watkins gone, and you were gonna have obviously Trey Harris gone, but Trey Wallace balling, he's balling right now. I like Stribling. Caden Lee hasn't even like had to do much at all. I mean, it's a good unit out there,
Does it
and
concern you that Kentucky did run the football, though, with some success against Ole Miss?
yeah, actually that kind of does. because Kentucky's offensive line, uh they did get Arkansas's guard, Braun. They did get him in the transfer portal, but like I don't think that the rest of that offensive line going into the season, my conviction about that offensive line was that, oh, that is one of the worst ones in the SEC by far. And yeah, that is concerning. And when you got two bruisers like Arkansas does, that's why it's such an interesting game, man. Like I'm I have a very hard time being convicted on either side. I'll go with you and I'll take the points. It sucks that yeah we have to take the points on the road,
Yeah.
because Ole Miss could very well find a way to scheme some stuff up. Taylor Green, who knows? Like this offensive line, we you and I, CD, we think it got better, but we don't know that for sure. Those first couple possessions in that week one game against Alabama A&M, it didn't look great, but I don't know. I'll take Arkansas. I've been high on them all offseason. I'll back it up. Let's go, Woo Pig. But I will take Ole Miss to win this game though. But I will be taking Arkansas plus the 8.5. I mean, I am actually pretty convicted that Arkansas is going to cover this game. I'm just not sure that they're necessarily going to win it. Uh, Let me clarify for a later part of my show, or later part of our show, when I'm potentially laying cash on the Razorbacks. Do get Tulane. Darian Mensah? Come on. Going back there, man. Dude, he's looked amazing. I severely underrated him, I think, in the portal. Like I thought that I was just a blind what an overpay guy. That was what I was. I was an ignorant, stupid loser for thinking that Darian Mensah was not like some elite quarterback. He, in my opinion, right now is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in college football through 2 weeks.
Without a doubt. I mean, he was incredible, even against Illinois. And yeah, that game got away from you in that second half, but he's going to put you in opportunities to win just about every single game that you have on your schedule, which is big time. Obviously, this one's personal for him, personal for Tulane as well. I will say, like, it's tough. Like, for whatever allegedly the number was, it yeah, and it happened for Tulane. Obviously, like they got Jake Retzloff there, kind of late, kind of a weird situation there with BYU coming over to Tulane. But I thought he's been very solid. I think he ran the ball well, especially against Northwestern. He got it done at times against South Alabama. I do worry about him pushing the ball down the field or having to push the ball down the field against Duke, right? I think this defense and Manny Diaz presents different challenges than you've seen against Northwestern, that you've seen against South Alabama. I do like the Jaguar team. That South Alabama team, you're going to Mobile, get to play on the road there. I think they're going to be very competitive in the Sun Belt. It's a little different caliber of athlete, a little different caliber of coaching staff, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But this is huge for Tulane, man. They are fighting for a G5 spot. They are seeing their fellow American team in South Florida really getting it done right now. They're hogging all the spotlight there. You got Ohio in the MAC getting a lot of attention. The Mountain West is a little quiet right now, but we'll see if that changes. But yeah, right now this means a lot for Duke here. And you're 2.5-point favorites at home. This is awesome. First of all, I love the fact they are hosting two Power Four teams. Now it's Duke and Northwestern, but it's still like that's so awesome, man. And credit for Duke for coming on the road. Manny Diaz versus John Summerall, both very, very good coaches. Um, yeah, man, a lot of fun here. Excited to get into this. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be laying. I think I'm gonna be laying Tulane minus 2.5. And boy, do I feel absolutely terrible about that. Terrible about it. But the physicality that Tulane has shown me
Yeah. Yep.
really, really has me excited. And Jake Retzloff has looked. I think he's looked good. You know, uh, and you still have talent even across this offensive line. Like I'm pretty confident that this Tulane offensive line can bring it to this Duke defensive line, even though Manny Diaz, he's not necessarily known for like these elite defensive lines either. Like it is a lot of fast linebackers, being disruptive, but this is a well coached Tulane football team. So I'm sure Duke fans, you guys can blow me up in the comments and whatnot. But I don't know. It's a pick, and I don't feel good about it at all.
Yeah, I'm interested to see in the pregame what's going on with Maurice Turner there, the running back for Tulane. He was very, very good against Northwestern in week one. He was hurt ankle injury last week against South Alabama. That's going to be one to be monitoring because I would love to see you be able to run the football, especially with Retzlaff and Mobley and Gordon, especially if Maurice Turner can't go for you. And then the other way around too, like South Alabama ran the ball well with consistency, both at the quarterback and obviously, with Kentrell Bullock for South Alabama. So that's going to be something I think Duke's going to be looking to exploit there. Jacquez Moore is a very good football player. We like him a lot. Nate Shepard's done his thing. Are we going to see more of a commitment to running the football? Obviously, that second half got away from you there, so you kind of had to abandon it. But, when you have game and script here, who can run the football well? And I think that's going to tell you a lot about this game here. I like Tulane -2.5. I don't love it. That's going to kind of be where
Don't
I'm
love it.
settling at. I like home field advantage there. I like your coaching staff. I like running the football. And you mentioned that physicality, man, against, I can't get that out of my mind about what you did to Northwestern and even South Alabama, and believing that you can hang with Power Four bodies that Duke will present to you. Yeah, also should be rocking and rolling there down at Yeoman Stadium. So a lot of fun there for Duke in the American Conference, as well as, Tulane in the American Conference, as well as for Duke. I feel like we haven't talked about them too much, but they're a team that they got to rebound right from the Illinois loss there. They had a nice out of conference schedule with Illinois and Tulane there, and then you get in a conference schedule which is somewhat manageable too, with who you draw and who you don't draw. More importantly, so it's a big game for Manny Diaz as well.
Yeah, find a way to get pressure on Jake Retzlaff. Find a way to stop the run. If you like Duke, take him +2.5. If you like Tulane, there's twos out there. I think there's even 1.5s out there. But yeah, do your shopping, I guess. I will not be shopping this game. Thought about an underplay, but couldn't do it. I think there's a lot of really good athletes. I think there's a lot of really sneaky good athletes on this field, and that would make me nervous. That'd make me a little bit nervous to be taking the under in that game. Uh, First half under, you think about it, but because like the total's 54.5, and see, like to me at first glance, I'm like, that feels like a lot. That feels like a lot, but I stayed a little bit disciplined. I know. See, exactly. See, when I pointed out, you're like, "What? That's the number?"
I ain't gonna do it. I
Wow.
ain't gonna do it. But
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be pissed, obviously, when it totally smacks. And I think it opened at 52.5 too. So like, got bet up or sharps on that. I don't even know. I don't even know, man. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game. This is gonna be an absolute. It's gonna be a slugfest. Cannot wait. Florida, 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 Florida. I can't put money on you to win the SEC, and then you just go out there and just lay a stinker.
not a
Granted,
conference game.
not a conference game, but boy, Florida fans, I get it, man. I get it. All right. See that thing back there? All right. You know what it was like losing to App State at home, week 3 of the season?
Bowling Green, done it too.
Bowling Green. Man, we've been there. Florida fans, we've been there. But the difference is that this South Florida team actually might be good. So, um, yeah, all hope I don't think is lost. I think this schedule the rest of the way is brutal for you guys. It's brutal. And Billy Neighbors going to save his job. He has to find a way to win games, such as this one, on the freaking road against LSU's 9.5-point dogs. That's tough. Here's the thing, though, CD. Florida is more than talented to do this. They're more than talented enough to win this game on the road against LSU. More than talented. And in fact, there's like a lot of position groups that preseason I would have pointed out and said, okay, Florida is better there. Florida's better on their offensive line. I think Florida is potentially better on their defensive line. I think Florida, running back, Jaden Ball, like it a lot. Depending on how high you were on DJ Lagway, I wasn't personally higher on him than I was Nussmeier, but there are a lot of position groups for this Florida team where you look at it and you compare side by side to LSU, and you're like, 9.5 points is a lot, man. 9.5 points is a lot. What if Florida just bounces back here, man? What if they do?
Listen, I went back to last year. I'm like, what happened? Remember last year when week 1 against Miami and you just got dog walked? Now, little did we know Cam Ward was going to go and win the Heisman. It's a very good Miami football team you lost to, but nonetheless, you should never be losing like that to Miami.
Well, he went number 1 overall. He didn't win the Heisman.
Excuse me, thank you. Number 1 overall, not the Heisman. I just think, and I hate to say it, I think Florida doesn't like playing in the swamp, right? I think last year you saw them struggle in the swamp against teams they should not have, right? And obviously you had some big wins like the LSU and Ole Miss. I'm kind of half kidding there, but you did come out after like a tough start to the season. You played at Tennessee and you played a hell of a ball game. I ended up losing in overtime. Should have won that football game. Yada yada yada. I do trust Billy Napier to gather the troops here. I'm not worried about quit watch. I'm not worried about Florida coming out slow because they're gonna have to, man. Baton Rouge at night. Like that is not something that you want to be in a tough spot in, man. You find yourself down a couple scores early on with a young roster. Yeah, that's not going to be ideal. Or a young quarterback for Florida, excuse me. But I just was kind of racking my brain, like, why couldn't Florida score? What was going on there? Like, you have better athletes at every single thing, all that stuff. And I think a couple things can be true here. Like, I think you played a bad football game. Like you said, I think South Florida might just be also a very good football team. But I think you get back here. Like, how do you win this game? And there's going to be like stupid, obviously basic keys to win every football game, but you have to run the football and stop the run. People forget too, LSU did not look great last week either. Louisiana Tech is a terrible football team. And they did not look great at all. They didn't run the ball with any kind of efficiency with their starters. Like with Caden Durham, he had like Xavier Thomas and Harlem Berry have a couple of long runs to help your totals, but it was not pretty there. You run the football, you stop the run, and this is also a spot here where I want to see DJ Lagway like make his presence felt, right? Like be the guy that we expect you to be. You don't have to carry your football team, but make big time plays, like come out and kind of get a nice comeback game because yeah, it wasn't awful, it wasn't all on you why you lost the game against South Florida, but I want to see better there. And then something you didn't do against South Florida, you got to win the turnover margin, man. I would love to see a stat about teams going into LSU and like how do you beat them without winning the turnover margin? Like that has to be part of it. And then just be better on third down, man. 4 out of 12 against South Florida at home is despicable. So that's where I'm at here. LSU's a very good football team, man. It's going to be a tough game. This is a game we've had circled for a while. I still believe in Florida, man. I still do. I'll go plus 9.5. I think that's way too many points. If it was staring at not at 10, and if you've been around this show for a little bit, we do our dirty dogs where we find 10-point underdogs that can win outright. That would be one we would both be screaming to the front of the line for to get that number at. But at 9.5, I still like Florida cover here. A win will be very hard, and I know there's no, there's no style points, there's no moral victories in college football, but sometimes there is, man. And getting back to it would be a big start for Florida.
I'm with you. I'll take Florida plus the 9.5. I think they might win this game. But here's the thing: this season diverges on two paths after this game. You get blown out, we all know what path you're headed down. If you rally and you find a way to win this game, we could see, 2 months from now, South Florida in the college football playoff rankings. Pending, obviously, this Miami game they got going for them this weekend, which we will talk about here on the show. Yeah, but I don't feel good about it, but 9.5 points. I hate taking things on the road. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But man, LSU, if you're scaling for competition, how much worse did Florida look last week than LSU?
Not like
If
crazy.
if you're scaling for competition, not that much.
And like if
Not
you're
that
Florida,
much.
you're pissed, bro. You're embarrassed. Like you better be working your tail off too.
If you're there for Billy Napier, like all these players say they are, they know exactly what they're fighting for right now. And they have to get it done this week. They have to. You have to.
Who's got the better wide receiver room?
I mean, that's a really good question.
That's how I want to bring it. I think a
I
healthy
probably think
room.
it's I probably think it's LSU, but healthy talent wise, Florida might be more talented at receiver.
Yeah, I think that's pretty realistic or pretty reasonable. Travis Green too, the tight end is hurt for LSU. That's a big loss there. Just physically, talent wise, matchup nightmare. But they got some good players there, Bauer Sharp and others in that room. But it'll be fun here watching LSU. I do want to see that defense, man. Like they put Clemson in a blender. A lot of that football game, they could not run the football at all. Like, do they back that up? Like, not that I'm doubting LSU, like they're top 3 team in the country, whatever. Like they're very, very good and very talented, very well coached. I kind of just want to see a little bit more proof in the pudding too from LSU side before leaping them into like real, legit, right there about. Okay, if you tell
It's
me
a
this,
national championship.
national
National
championship,
championship.
yeah,
That's what you're talking about. It's not just it's not we're not talking about just playoffs. We're talking about national championship.
yes,
Like I agree with you.
they win and cover this game.
Today,
I think yeah, holy cow, watch out for LSU.
Vanderbilt is going to South Carolina as only 5.5 point dogs. What? What? Now, we talked about South Carolina in the preseason, and it's like, okay, you are missing a lot. A lot. I mean, the NFL talent, ridiculous. DJ Sanders, uh, Kyle Kennard, Tonka Hemingway, Demetrius Knight had a great
Yes,
week one, in his rookie year there in the NFL.
Eman Worry, the safety.
Nick Warry. I mean, the list goes on and on. Debo Williams. The list goes on, man. But Bam Martin Scott. Can we just keep listing guys that are gone?
They had another DB too that was really good. It's gone as well. I'm blanking on him.
So I'm just, yeah. And Vanderbilt, dude, was not incredibly high on them heading into the season. But why do I keep doing that, CD? Why do I keep doubting Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers and Jerry Kill over there being the best analyst apparently in the entire country?
Criminal. He's
Unbelievable.
wait. Let me say this. He's chief consultant to the head coach.
Yeah. So he's literally has his hand all the way up his ass
It's like
and is
Clarkley, you do the
willing this
defense.
Vanderbilt team to 6-win games or 6-win seasons. Unbelievable. Yeah, I think Vanderbilt could win this game. Like, South Carolina has not shown me that much, to be honest. Not calling this the week of the dog, because, look, to pick this game, I will take South Carolina minus 5.5 and feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
I do think while people are quick to criticize Lenora Sellers' start to this season from a statistical standpoint, like, what is Vanderbilt going to do to physically tackle him? I know that you look at the common opponent, right? That's the first thing some Vanderbilt fans go say. Click, clack, click, clack, click. Oh, did you see Vanderbilt absolutely whoop Virginia Tech? Okay, yes, I did. All right. Football is weird, okay? Football is weird. You do have to use that as a significant part of your data when analyzing these two teams. I think South Carolina, like, playing in their stadium, it is a nightmare, man. That is Bryce Williams. Well, that is one of the most underrated places to play in all of college football. I don't like South Carolina here, but I'll lay the 5.5 and feel pretty terrible about it. Now, here's the question, though, CD. If Vanderbilt wins this game, actually, I'll let you talk about it first, but just know my follow up question is going to be then where are we at with Vanderbilt then in the SEC?
Clark Lee lifetime extension. No,
Literally.
no,
No,
but
but like not, but
yeah, he'll fall into like a spot where he will fall into a Mark Stoops kind of role where it's like, yeah, I guess that's more long term, not about this season. But real quick, I do. You talked about it. The transitive property is great for middle school math. It's fantastic. It's we love that. It is so hard to do in college football, and I understand they were literally a week apart, and Vanderbilt was even on the road, and they
yeah.
dominated. And guess what? South Carolina came back, like followed up their game against Virginia Tech, and they got outgained by South Carolina State at home. What are we doing? You had 2 punt return touchdowns. Now I know it's Beamer
Beamer
ball,
ball.
so
Come
I
on,
can't
baby.
even discount you for that. So it's like, yeah, I just whatever. But I'm sorry, you didn't have 2 punt return for touchdowns. I'm mistaken there. It was a turnover on defense, whatever. But I'm sorry. The reality is though, it's just hard to do that. And I did it last week. Week 1 Broncos. Don't let it happen again here. I like South Carolina -5.5. I really like that coaching staff there. I know Diego Pavia is a stud. I know Cedric Alexander's are really good football players, but they capitalized on big explosive plays against Virginia Tech. Like, that was a huge reason why they opened that game up, right? And they also did stop the runs and they contained Kyron Drones. I do think that's going to be a different kind of animal to tackle in Norris Sellers. I expect Faison and Attaway to get going at home. They're not going to sleepwalk against Vanderbilt. I think everyone understands exactly what they're getting into. Well, not understands. I think they are ready and willing to prepare like they are gearing up for a legit football team when they are playing Vanderbilt and Diego Pavia because you cannot sleep on him. You talked about home field advantage there. That is a tough place to play. It's going to be a night game. It's, what is it, 7:45 local time there. But my, oh my, is this such an interesting game. We had to throw it up here to talk about because I think it's fascinating. And to answer your question about if Vanderbilt does win this football game, yeah, man. I mean, you got to put some respect on their name. And the nice thing is they're going to have a couple of games against Georgia State, who they lost to last year, and Utah State, where you should be 5-0 going against Alabama, right? Just like last year and all that
Yikes.
stuff. So it's a really tough stretch at the end for Vanderbilt. Alabama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, and you finish with at Tennessee. So that's not ideal, but this is a massive game. You're trying to get to 6 wins. This is a huge spot for you to put you right on pace for that 5 mark win and just steal one more in conference play, and it'll put you right there. So, but theoretically, if you beat South Carolina on the road, like I have no reason to believe that you cannot compete in those football games, especially against your Missouris, Auburns, Tennessees, even Alabama, all that stuff. Like with what you can do schematically and the playmakers you have on both sides of the ball. So that's where I'm at.
It's not that you couldn't run the ball last year, but like it looks like you might be able to run the ball a little bit this year
Is this Vanderbilt?
as Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty scary. Uh, that's pretty scary, man. Here's what Vanderbilt like is in a unique situation right now, CD. If I look up Vanderbilt scores on my computer right now, which I did a little bit ago, just to pull up, the box scores, the first thing that comes up is ACT scores. All right, for Vanderbilt.
Oh God.
When I look up Vanderbilt stats, Jared Vanderbilt is what pops
Oh
up.
God.
It's bad, all right?
And that's with a computer, by the way, that has a ton of college football research on it.
Oh
Anyways,
my
so
Google is
it should
just
know better.
it's googling and boogling over college football. Like, make some noise here, Vanderbilt. Prove me wrong, man. I want to see Vanderbilt be awesome at football this year. I would love to see that. I would love to see a 9-win Vanderbilt team, right? Back in the days when you had Jordan Rogers and Matthews, and like it's a good ball players. Who's the linebacker? That's a D coordinator for Virginia Tech. I don't even remember, but hit some dudes on that team. Found ways to win ball games, man. And it just makes the SEC like in a landscape in a conference where like the quarterback play is not significantly great from top to bottom. Diego Pavia elevates this team. When you have one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC, yeah, I said it. Diego Pavia is playing like one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC right now. You can win almost any game that you are in, which is wild. What a time to be a Vanderbilt fan right now. What a time.
Well, to go off that point too, like you look at the SEC landscape, South Carolina and Vanderbilt have two of the top quarterbacks in this conference. So that is, first of all, a recipe for chaos, right? Come October and November, which is fantastic for us as college football connoisseurs. But yeah, this is awesome, man. I selfishly rooting for Vanderbilt probably as a non-party, non-bias, looking for chaos in the SEC. But South Carolina also understands what they need to do in this game. I got them -5.5. But boy, oh boy, is this interesting.
South Florida, which is located in Tampa, is going to Miami on the road. 17.5-point underdogs after a giant win over Florida. I mean, these two teams right now have two of the better resumes in all of college football right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And
I
they're going to
mean,
be playing on the CW. Great.
which, if you were tuned into the CW last weekend, game of the year between Baylor and SMU. Game of the year. Folks, strap your butts to your couches. I mean, go to the bathroom before because you're not going to want to move for this absolute light show. I mean, of course, we're being a little bit facetious, but I I am worried. Like Miami's offensive and defensive line looked like playoff caliber, like the kind of offensive and defensive lines that you see on national championship teams. I'm not saying Miami's a national championship team. They're not my pick right now. Would not be betting on them, but I'm like, if we see a couple more weeks of that, like, you got to start having that conversation. And how is USF going to be able to handle that? Right? Byron Brown, phenomenal quarterback. When he is healthy, he is a absolute. He slings it. He's an unbelievable athlete. Like, and this USF defense, you have to give this USF defense credit. I mean, obliterating Boise State, just decimating them. You had the help of some plays here or there for sure. Florida, I mean, they're only scoring 16 on you. Like, you have to give this defense and special teams some credit at some point too.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Golish, Byron Brown, they get a lot of the attention as they should. Those are your household names. But yeah, it was super impressive. Getting off on third down, causing turnovers, all that kind of good stuff. It is a little bit worrisome. South Florida is going to have to get up again for the third time in a row against in a big spot here. Like that week 1 game against Boise State was a big, big game. Week 2 against Florida on the road was a big, big game. And now you got to get up again for the third time. Byron Brown had 36 passing attempts and 17 carries. That is 53 times the ball was in his hand last week. And guess what? He's probably going to have to do it again if South Florida is going to want to have a chance to hang in this football game. But I keep coming back to it, and it's kind of been the theme of this episode of this week. If you asked me before the season, like I genuinely, and close your eyes, close your ears, Miami fans, I genuinely thought Florida was a better football team than Miami, right? So it's not dumb to believe South Florida absolutely has a chance in this game. I see the line, I see 17.5, but like the way they beat Florida, they can absolutely muck up the game again against Miami. We've seen Carson Beck struggle plenty of times and keep teams that they should be rolling against in these football games. But this Miami team, this is not like your Mario Cristobal team. It doesn't feel like it of past where it's like, when is the letdown going to happen? When are the stupid penalties? When are these stupid turnovers? All this kind of stuff that's plagued them for years now with all the talent that they've had. This seems like a really well-built football team, a really well coached football team. I think they got both coordinator spots right with Dawson and and the kid from Minnesota there, the defense coordinator there. So
Heatherman.
with Corey Heatherman, but and that Notre Dame win was just super impressive. I know it was a close game. I know it was a true or redshirt freshman quarterback. I know you probably could have even lost it, and it was at home. But it's nice to be battle tested this early, especially because South Florida is also battle tested. And this is also a spot too. I mentioned it at the very, very beginning of the full episode we're doing here. Ain't nobody sleeping on South Florida anymore, right? Like this is not a spot where like they have the nation and Miami's full attention in this football game, which sucks for South Florida, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
that's just that's the dealt that that's the hand that they have dealt for themselves because of the success they have had so far. Um, yeah, I do want to see I want to see Miami physically dominate this game from start to finish. Do what Florida could not do. If you give this team, South Florida, a chance in the fourth quarter, you've got a very confident team who has plenty of talent all over. You've got the transfer portal defensive line. You've got unbelievable talent on the offense side of the ball. You've got a very, very good football coach and schematically, coached football team. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I'll take USF plus 17.5 and Miami to win. That's what I'll do. And I do believe that there is a situation where Miami just mauls them, right? I mean, because it's kind of what you saw against Notre Dame. It's just Notre Dame, like that floor of talent that they have, was able to keep in that game. And honestly, CJ Carr, just really solid second half from him. I don't love it. I don't love taking USF plus 17.5, but I think that's what I'll live with there.
Yeah, I'll take them too. I worry about, like you said, if this game gets out of script, Byron Brown, like playing from behind, is not where you want to be, I guess, with this
Sure.
offense. So that's definitely something where if you are down by 10 points at half, like how aggressive are you? What kind of turnovers do occur? It's hard to predict that now, sitting here Monday night before the game. But it's just unfortunately a realistic possibility that can happen with the certain game script here. Oh, man. Wouldn't it be crazy, man? College football runs through the state of Florida, man. I'll just say it. Anybody else? No, nobody else could, so I'll say it. But no.
Let's head over then to our best bets of the week. Last week, we'll recap it. I went 5-1 with some very nice wins, including a Texas Tech minus 47.5. Way to get that number,
Yeah.
pat on the back. Because
Huge.
48.5, dead. Dead. Will Hammond leading a late scoring touchdown drive. And we knew it. I said it didn't matter who played quarterback from. I did call Mitch Griffis throwing a touchdown, but we'll settle for Will Hammond. Baylor SMU over. Yeah, I mean, smack. UAB Navy over. Smack. Yeah, I had a good week. You, my friend, 1-5.
Yeah.
But that was coming off of a good week that you had in week one, which is tough to have a good week in week one. So, uh, you and I think together are about 500. If you combine our records on the season, it's fine. It's week two, whatever. We move on to week three. I've got 5 for UCD.
I love it. Stay hot, man. You start us off here.
I'll give you Southern Miss money line. All right. They opened as dogs. Wish I could get them at plus 2.5, like the way that they opened. I think the sharps are on them early. Fine. I'll hop on it late. I still wanted to include it here, even though I did buy some Southern Miss stock right as they came out. But this Southern Miss team is pretty talented. Watching the first half of that Mississippi State game, it's like, okay, all right, this team's pretty talented. This is not the Southern Miss team that we've seen in a couple years past. App State, they had a really nice week one against a Charlotte team, which might be the worst team in college football, by the way.
Tim
Not
Halman.
actually, but Division One FBS, they're probably the third or fourth worst team in college football right now in my eyes. Then App State goes and against Lindenwood. Now it was not as close as it may seem. I think Lindenwood scored a pretty late touchdown there to make it a one possession game, but yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to overreact or anything. I just think Southern Miss is a better football team. So I'll lay Southern Miss. Give me them money line. I think you can get that. You can get like you could probably get like a plus 1.5 out there too, but you're eating up a lot of juice. Yeah, but you can get this money line. I think at like minus 102 some places. I'll roll with that.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on App State, especially with that new coaching change there. I don't hate it at all. I think Charles Huff's a monster, man. He's gonna impose his will in the Sun Belt this year. Again, for Southern Miss now. For mine here, I'm gonna go. It's a pretty hefty line, but feel pretty good about it. Oregon minus 27.5. I like that it's under 4 touchdowns. We saw what they did to Oklahoma State last week. Even going back to week one, how they handled Montana State, a team that is perennially one of the best teams in the FCS. They last week just took South Dakota State to double overtime, who's also one of the better teams in all of the FCS. So yeah, a lot to impress there. Oregon, they also do have a very solid second and third strings too. So when they do come in, when it is a blowout, I do like them to run that up as well. Yeah, and Northwestern too is just not a very good football team. Preston Stone, I think, will struggle a lot, just as he did in Week 1 against Tulane. And then unfortunately, Cam Porter, injury to him with Northwestern, that's a tough spot to be in. It sounds like he'll miss the rest of the year, so hate to see that for him. But that's a big, big loss for Northwestern in this game here. So yeah, I'll go Oregon minus 27.5.
A little too rich for me, but I like it. I'll stick with the dogs. Give me Arkansas +9 against Ole Miss on the road. Scary that it's on the road, I know, but I've been hyping up Arkansas all offseason. I'll put my money where my mouth is, even though I do have some money on their win total for sure. But yeah, I'll land +9. I think if it was at 10, it's a no brainer for me for sure. But I still like it at 9.
I thought about it, and even after getting burned by Ole Miss last week, and their backdoor cover there, they had a couple turnovers in that game. We talked about that plenty too, so y'all understand how we feel
Yeah,
about that
and
game.
that's honestly the one that I feel least good about of any of these ones that I'm on this week, to be honest.
Yeah, but why not though? Could be that year for Arkansas, man. It could be that year. For mine here, I'll stay in the SEC. Staying with the road team, man. I'll go Georgia minus 3.5.
Boom,
Um,
lock it in.
so we're both in
I'm with
agreement
you.
there. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this game a lot. I have a hard time seeing Tennessee covering that. I think if Georgia does win, I think they win by about a touchdown in this game, even with potential backdoor cover. So yeah, give me Georgia. Give me a pissed off Georgia football team that looks motivated and wants to really kind of flex them back as one of the perennial powers as the SEC's leader.
Yeah, I won't reiterate everything you just said, but I'm with you. Give me uh let's get another dog here. FAU +3. A little scary that line is what it is. I think the wrong team's favored. Uh I do think FIU, wonderful coaching staff that we talked about. Well, both these guys, new coaches, Willie Simmons and Zach Kitley over there. Very, very interesting coaching matchup. But like FIU's run defense has been really good. Okay. And FIU, like I I'm not a Keon Jenkins believer, even though FIU is absolutely kind of stuck into some teams here on the ground early on. I kind of like FAU in this spot. Just Caden Veltkamp, please, for the love of God, don't turn the ball over. For the love of God and everything, do not turn the ball over. Just keep it easy here. Keep it easy. Stop the run. Find a way to win this ball game here.
Listen, some are saying it is the most important game being played in Southern Florida this weekend, and I think it's awesome. What's it is it the Shula Bowl right down there? FIU. That's a big game there. I was shocked to find FIU favored, and I thought about taking this, but I love Willie Simmons too much that I couldn't do it, man. It's a massive,
Sure.
massive spot for that. But I understand, especially with you probably have more talent there with the road team. Um,
Scary, man. It's
scary.
scary, but I had to. I know it's a trap. I know it's a trap, and we're gonna get burned. But oh well.
Speaking of road favorites, Boston College traveling across the country to Stanford. This is
As
more
far as anyone could travel.
yeah, exactly. This is more about Stanford than it is about Boston College. Although I was very impressed. I do worry a little bit about fatigue. They played a long, tough game against Michigan State. We previewed that. Love Dylan Longren, love Bill O'Brien and that staff there. I think offensively, they're just going to score too many points for Stanford. As long as Ben Gulbranson is starting at Stanford, I'm going to be fading them. I think that it is not working out there at all. Frank Reich, it has a mess on his hands there for Stanford. I thought they had a chance. I thought they were going to start Elijah Brown against BYU. They didn't do it. It sounds like it's not even that he's a better option than Gulbranson. So whatever happens, man, I think Boston College minus 10.5. Would love to get that at 10. I might think about betting that down to 10 or waiting for it to cross if it does, but I don't expect it to. I'll take Boston College minus 10.5.
Yeah, I like that. I thought about that one too. Um, couldn't get myself to do it. Something about the travel from East Coast to West Coast,
Yeah.
it messed with my head. I've seen it too many times.
Can I ask you this though? So last year, a lot was made of that. We talked about in the offseason, and for good reason, and it played out as that. This is a little off topic here, but it's year two now. Like coaching staffs and play, like I think they're going to get a little bit more adapt to that, and I do expect. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking as a Boston College ticket holder, but maybe I
Yeah.
do. You do see a little bit better adjustment where you don't see crazy sluggish starts. You don't see these wild big dogs on the West Coast or on the East Coast, vice versa, as the home teams, really playing good football against uh, a lot superior teams. So it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting thought. I mean, we don't know. We don't know how it'll play out, how these coaching staffs will adjust, how the players will adjust. You would think at some point that they would. There would be better travel plans, that there'd be, you know, better preparation for it, now that it's basically a professional sport, people getting paid. So, I don't know. Interesting thought. Last one I'm going to give you all, Louisiana Tech, New Mexico State under 42 and a half. That's the under that I'm on today, not the Tulane Duke one. I know it's a stinky one. It was a dude. Talk about barn burner last year of a game. Barn burner. Overtime game. Uh, low scoring, man. As long as it doesn't go to overtime, I think we might be in a good spot here with the line being a double digit spread. Hoping that it doesn't get to that point. I mean, I'm thinking 17-10. Like that. That's what I'm seeing when I see this. Like, which of these teams has really shown that they can actually put up points offensively? I don't hate Logan Fife at quarterback. You know, I don't hate Tony Sanchez as a coach over there. I mean, sure, Louisiana Tech looked not garbage against LSU. They didn't look great, but I mean, defensively they look good,
Which is great. Good for you.
which is great. Love that for my under. So 42.5 feels like way too many points. So yeah, that'll be my last one. So I'm on Southern Miss money line, Arkansas +9, FAU +3, Georgia -3.5, and Louisiana Tech, New Mexico State under 42.5. And you are on Oregon -27.5 versus Northwestern, Georgia -3.5 against Tennessee, just like I am, and Boston College -10.5 against Stanford on the road. All of yours are all of yours on the road?
Yep.
Gross. Good luck to you. I guess, yeah, I got two minor on the road. Actually, three minor on the road. So, oh,
We're in
that's not a
trouble.
good sign. Let's head over to the Dirty Dogs, where last week we hit two absolutely stinky, smelly ones. Missouri State +310, bang. All right, Army +575, bang. You almost hit James Madison +475. That game was scary in the fourth quarter until Isaac Brown kind of broke one loose late. I mean, that was looking good. Stanford is what you were on also last week, +750.
Long
You
shot.
didn't. It was pending Elijah Brown. That was your logic was dependent on Elijah Brown. You didn't get it. We'll give you a pass.
It,
All
could,
right.
it couldn't get worse. It just couldn't get worse, and then it did.
Yeah. So this week, I'll get the first one because you did hit the one the week before. You had a really nice one. Uh, I'm forgetting what you hit in week one, but
Food. It was rice against
oh,
Louisiana.
Rice against Louisiana. Yeah, that was good. Plus 310. Nice. So yeah, I mean, we're up like over 7 units with these plays so far. I mean, it won't stay that way, but guys, like if you're on this list, like you're genuinely in trouble. You're genuinely in trouble. So I'll go first. Give me New Mexico State plus 300 in that game that I just talked about against Louisiana Tech. Should Louisiana Tech be favored by double digits against anyone in college football, Christopher?
No.
Maybe Kent State. Is that it? End of list. Akron. Eastern Michigan. Oh boy, do they not look.
Chris
They look
Creighton.
really bad. Sorry, Chris
Help a
Creighton.
brother out.
Freaking love Chris Creighton, but boy, is that team bad right now.
UL Monroe. No. My boy's fine. But yeah, I don't hate that at all for you. Plus two, like you're on the under. Looking at a theme in a lot of these games with these like, especially you're in the G5, man, muck it up, bro. Muck it up, and you give yourself a chance to win. Yeah, I don't hate that, man. With the juice you got, that's not what I was thinking. I am gonna stay in the state of New Mexico. I will go the University of New Mexico, the Lobos plus 525 here.
Stole mine. That was a good one.
I know you wanted that as well. I know they didn't play fantastic against Idaho State last week. Yada yada yada. I think it's a really good coaching staff there with New Mexico. I think Jack Lane's a very solid football player. Scotty Humphrey is getting done at the running back position. And UCLA is bad right now. They are not a good football team. You lost to UNLV, who I still am not convinced is a very, very good football team. So here we are with New Mexico plus 525. They gave Michigan all they could handle. Let's go, Lobos.
Yeah, that was my pick. Got to go back to the drawing board for this one. It feels like it's slim pickings this week, and we said that last week, and we hit two of them, right? I'll take a big stinky one that's probably not going to hit, but I'll take Purdue plus 1100 against USC. Purdue didn't look amazing against Southern Illinois. USC looked pretty good against Georgia Southern. Although the defense, I don't know, man. What if they're dialing in their Josh Henson revenge game over there for Purdue? I'm just saying. No, I mean it's we'll call it unlikely, but I mean that would set us up plus 1100 CD. I mean that would basically essentially guarantee that I'd be positive for the rest of the year, which would be awesome. That'd be nice. And we've seen crazier things happen before. Every year there's like a 25 plus, there's a 25 point or more favorite that goes down. And this is what, 21 and a half? Man, this stuff happens. It happens. It happens.
It does.
Just gotta get the right one. That's the hard part.
The spoiler makers, they've done it before too, and obviously Barry Odom looking to make a splash there at the head coach. I would be obviously shocked. That would send ripples through USC, that program. It could turn into a rough month there because they have Michigan State, Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, Nebraska would be their next 5 games. So not ideal for Lincoln Riley, but yeah, why not throw a dart? Speaking of darts here, I'll go Texas State at Arizona State, staying in the G5 over Power 4 teams here. Texas State plus 500 here. They played them well last year, if you remember that. I think it was like a Thursday night game. It was in it was in Texas State there, and it was actually a really good football game. Texas State's still a very good roster as well. Brad Jackson's doing great things there. I was really impressed with how they played against UTSA, against, we think, a pretty good football team down there with the Roadrunners. That was on the road. You're going back on the road here to Arizona State. Arizona State obviously probably upset about how last week ended, especially with the last of it. You struggled to get Sam Leavitt going. Yes, you ran the ball well, which is great to see you do that again. You probably win this football game, but why not? Texas State, GJ Kinney, a couple of coaching staffs I love, plus 500.
Dude, this game last year was a field goal game.
Yeah.
If you remember watching it, it was tied at halftime. Going to the fourth quarter, I mean, it was a late field goal with like 6-7 minutes left in the game. Arizona State took that one. Jordan McLeod, Jaden Williams playing well in that game. I mean, yeah, dude, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. That's probably the better pick over Purdue, if I'm not gonna lie. That one, I could definitely see that one happening. I I guess I expect Kenny Dillingham to bounce back. I mean, that post game presser, it felt like he took it personally, and he's one of those guys. I feel like his players kind of reciprocate. Uh, what's like the saying where like your players kind of are the spitting image of your coach, or they kind of like reciprocate like how they act. Like that. I feel like his players. I mean, that's how they kind of elevated last year. I mean, all those guys just came together and just were awesome. I don't know. We'll see. I think that's a resilient football team, but I do like Texas State in that spot, plus 500. That is not bad. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us in those 9 games that we previewed, our best bets and our dirty dogs. Yeah, I can't wait to watch some football this weekend. We got some good ones like we talked about. And you know what? That just means that conference games really start next week, Like this is like the last week of like your FCS teams that you kind of draw, like some lower level out of conference games, that kind of some mismatches, really large point spreads. I mean, you're gonna start seeing some conference games coming up here. So I am pumped. I am juiced. CD, anything for us on the way out?
No, a lot of good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously, uh, cannot wait to get into this weekend. Week 3, not a ton of crazy headliners. Oh, yeah. No, there's a lot of good football games going on. We hope you enjoyed this episode and appreciate you for sticking around.
And we'll see y'all in the next one.